I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 183, Honesty, Your True North in Healing and Relationships. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. We're going to be talking about truth telling today. We're going to go deep into truth telling. Stick with me. You will learn some things. Hopefully, it will help you crack open into some things that you maybe need to see, areas where you could be more courageous, and areas that will help make your life better. So stick around, okay? Before we get into it today, I want to mention, as I mentioned last time, there is something coming. It is very, very close to being all done. It is a masterclass that I have put together at a very low cost that goes into a lot of depth about the decision to stay or go, all the different components, different things to think about, things to really settle into in your body and test out in your body. It's a deep, deep class. It's coming soon. Keep an eye out. Check the show notes. It's coming soon. You don't want to miss it. Okay. So for today's episode, we're talking about honesty as your true north. Honesty is your true north. Why this topic? You know, in my coaching, I work with lots of people, and it's so interesting to see themes that come up for my clients. People that don't know each other coming with the same stuff, with the same things that they need to talk about and the things that they need help with. It's interesting because often it mirrors things that I am personally working on or growing in, things that I am growing my own courage around, and knowing that this is a process, that this is the work that we're doing is not a one and done. It's not a now I've made it, now I'm good to go, and I never need to revisit this again. The nature of life is that we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue having situations that we have to face that are inviting us into our next level of growth, like a video game. Like, okay, you did that one, and now you get to reap the benefits of growing in that level. And now let's go. It's time for level number 237, right? On and on and on. And it doesn't ever end. And what I've been thinking about is the courage to be honest and how telling the truth is pointing us towards all the things that we want. And we're going to dive more into that today, okay? So first of all, I want to ask this question. For those of you listening who have been betrayed, what if the biggest thing holding you back isn't actually what your partner did, what they're not doing, but what you have not been willing to face within you? What if that is what is holding you back more, is what you haven't been willing to face within yourself? Something that I see a lot is clients who are just living at the mercy of their spouse and like at the mercy of what they desperately want to hear, what they desperately want to know. Like, did I mean anything to you? Do I mean anything to you now? How could you? How could you not think of me? Do you love this other person? Do you love them more than me? Do you still really love me, or am I the default choice? These questions that are big, these things that are big. And the part about honesty and truth telling is that when we turn that question inward and face ourselves, it directs us exactly to the work we need to do. It shows exactly what work we need to do so that we are not so beholden to the answer to whatever that question is from our partner. Yeah, we want to know if we're with somebody who loves us. Yes, all of those things. But when we put so much weight on how okay we are or how okay we are not, then what happens is we avoid our own healing. We put it off. We give the power of that to them. And we are not able to really step into our own. We're kind of in this dependent place, right? And so the question is, what if what is holding you back is actually things that you need to look at yourself, face within yourself, right? These questions that maybe we're afraid to ask, but we really do need an answer to, or maybe questions that they can never fully answer, or questions that we are afraid to ask because we are so afraid of what the answer is. And these things are keeping us stuck, or things that we're afraid to say because we're afraid that we'll be rejected. Okay. So today we're going to be exploring why being honest first with ourselves and then with others is the compass that will always, always point you towards freedom, towards growth, towards healing, even when it's terrifying. And I tell you what, it is. It's terrifying. This is like the work of courage. Okay. All right. So first, let's talk about the courage it takes to crack ourselves open enough to be honest. All right. Self-honesty is not automatic. It's not automatic. Self-honesty requires a lot of stillness, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of bravery. Most of us learned how to not be honest when we were pretty young. Most of us learned that it was probably not that safe to be completely honest. And I'm not talking about outwardly lying, like blatantly lying. I'm talking more about if we have a preference for one thing over another, we're going to minimize it. We're going to shy away from it. We're going to be accommodating, go with the flow, do what we need to do to keep up the appearances, do what we need to do to maintain some semblance of control. Okay, pretending we're fine when we're not, putting up masks. And many, many, many of us have done this for years and years. I know that I've shared this before. It's a very kind of silly example of this, but I'm going to share it again because I remember this lesson when I was in 5th grade, going to a friend's house. Her mom asking me, she had leftover spaghetti and leftover lasagna. Andrea, what do you want? Oh, whatever. Either one's fine. Andrea, which one do you want? Really, I'm okay with either one. Either one is great. Finally, she says, Andrea, there's going to be a time in your life when somebody's going to ask what you want. You don't answer. They choose for you, and you're going to get something you don't want. You know, and it's interesting as I think about that woman, the mother of my friend, and knowing that shortly thereafter she filed for divorce. And I wonder what was going on in her life that she was able to say that so boldly and so wisely to me. But I remember it. I remember it, right? I would much prefer lasagna over spaghetti any day of the week. I love lasagna, but I didn't say it because I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to have them have thoughts about me being high maintenance and that Andrea, she's kind of picky, right? And so honesty can feel very scary. And most of us, just like this example, have developed from a very young age ways that we don't tell the truth, ways that we hide our own feelings, and often ways that we hide our own feelings from ourselves. I can't tell you how many people I have coached who have no idea what they want because it's been such a long time since they've even been able to feel safe enough to ask themselves that, right? We are not able to share truth with somebody else that we haven't yet owned ourselves. And it takes a lot of courage to crack ourselves open and look and examine and see. All right? It's hard. It takes a lot of courage. One thing that I have seen again and again that I've been a witness to in real time in my coaching calls is times where I have coached clients through this, where I walk them through to their point of truth, where they say the truth, where they have their breakthrough, where they know, where they recognize it, where they're like, that's it, that is the truth. And then the relief that ensues, even if it means they have to do something with that truth. It's relief, it's clarity. Even if it's hard to see, there's some relief in it and going, okay, this is it for me. This is the truth, okay? Why is it so risky being honest with others? Often sharing our truth with a partner can feel like an emotional free fall, and we just hope we don't crash on the ground. We hope somebody catches us. We can fear rejection. We can fear conflict. Many of us have been programmed to think that conflict by itself is bad and that we should avoid conflict. I have a very different opinion on that. I think that conflict is actually where we can tell the truth, and then it's in the repair piece that we are able to come back together. But the conflict is often the truth telling. That's a good thing, right? Sometimes we are afraid of being too much. We're afraid of being rejected. We're afraid that the other person's going to be defensive, that we're going to crack our hearts open to share and that it's going to be rejected. But withholding truth, it creates distance, it creates resentment, and it creates self-abandonment, right? Isn't that sad? That's the cost. It creates distance, resentment, and self-abandonment. We are abandoning ourselves when we are not telling the truth. A true, authentic connection with anyone can only be possible when both people show up as they really are. And boy, is this an act of courage. Boy, is this an act of courage. When we recognize that we would rather honor ourselves and risk having people judge and make up stories about us, but that we can't not be honest anymore. That takes incredible courage, okay? But sometimes we don't do that and self-abandon, and we know it, and we feel that, and we shrink within ourselves because we know it, okay? Here's some examples of honest things that people can say. I'm afraid that I'm not going to survive this pain. I don't know. I really don't know if I can trust again. I don't know, but I'm going to try, but I don't know if I can. These are the things that I truly need, even if I'm so scared to say it. I'm so afraid to say, but these are the things that I actually need, okay? There's some examples of telling the truth. I don't know. I want to trust, but I don't know if I can. I'm trying to learn if I can, right? Now, I want to touch on an important piece here that might be hard to hear, but stick with me, okay? Stick with me. Something that I see a lot, and that I see it within myself, that I see that I have been complicit in this myself in my former years, is many betrayals before the big one. Okay, there's the big betrayal of infidelity, the shattering, we can't look away betrayal, right? Can't look away. But there's often many, many, many betrayals that happened before that on both sides of the fence. Okay. Infidelity rarely happens out of nowhere, like in a vacuum. Okay. Long before that moment, most relationships are experiencing a series of many betrayals on both sides. And what do these look like? Many betrayals are subtle moments where we abandon honesty, where we withhold connection, or where we act out of fear rather than truth. Okay, so for example, here's an example. Many people are willing and eager to be sexually intimate with their partners at the beginning of the relationship. They're excited about it, they want it, they seem to have an insatiable appetite. And then over time, that piece goes down and there's less of a desire. Now, sometimes there is real biology involved of having children, right? Having kids, the busyness of it, the lack of sleep, things like that, okay? But I'm talking more about the lack of desire because we don't really like our partner, because we resent them, because we don't feel supported by them, because we've been hurt by them, because we feel disconnected, because we don't feel totally safe really giving it up, really letting it all go for this person. And a mini betrayal is withholding intimacy without communicating why. I'm just going to withhold this and then put this mile-high wall up, and it's your fault, but I'm not going to tell you why, right? Sometimes we agree to something to keep the peace, but it feels misaligned. Maybe we agree to moving somewhere or a career change or some other decisions that we say, sure, I can be accommodating, and then later realize, no, actually no. or even in the moment, we feel misaligned with it, but we agree to it and kind of be like, I can suck it up. I can figure it out. I'll figure it out. And knowing that it feels off, knowing that it feels misaligned, right? Sometimes we fail to express needs or desires or disappointments because we don't want to rock the boat, because we don't want to be too much, because we don't want to, ruffle feathers. And these are little mini betrayals because we're not even giving the other person the opportunity to grow, to say, hey, okay, I want to meet you there. Sometimes I can say this about myself in my first marriage. I did vocalize the things that I wanted. I talked about it. I shared. And over time, I kind of pulled back on that because what I learned is that it was like some of it would be given. And then like very often, it literally was like the very next day where the hammer would come down and there was some mean thing that happened or a new betrayal, something new. And so I kind of learned that I almost felt punished for asking for things. Like he would give it and then there would be like the other shoe dropping. And that's where this takes so much courage, right? It takes so much courage to tell the truth and know I can't control how this person responds, right? And that's where I just started putting up a wall because the trust wasn't there that I would even be heard, right? Sometimes we pretend that everything's fine when we're really not fine, when we actually aren't, when there's something that's really chewing us up and eating at us and we're pretending. And these moments are often self-betrayal first. Why? Because we're suppressing what's actually true, that we're not okay. And then they become relational betrayals because we're not offering our partner the full picture. We're not sharing the whole picture. We're not giving an opportunity for a give and take to work together to fix it, right? When we don't tell the truth in the small things, the big rupture can feel inevitable. Silence creates a gap. And unfortunately, that gap gets filled with assumptions, distance, and eventually disconnection. I'm going to read that again. Okay? As I was putting this together, putting my notes together, I was thinking about the earth. I was thinking about a tiny, tiny, tiny little crack, like a tiny little rupture, tiny. And then over time, it's either so many ruptures that the ground can't hold anymore, or one big rupture that just cracks everything open. Massive destruction. Going to read this again. When we don't tell the truth in the small things, the big rupture can feel inevitable. Silence creates a gap, and that gap gets filled with assumptions, distance, and eventually disconnection. Okay, and where that disconnection goes is sometimes people opt out. They don't verbalize it. They go make different decisions outside the marriage. And then there's this big, big, big rupture, right? Now, I want to make sure you know that this is not about blame. Oh, it's not about blame. We are all doing the best we can. All of us came by these patterns honestly, okay? It's not about blame. It's about recognizing how powerful truth-telling is in keeping relationships alive and vibrant and real, even if those truths are painful. It shows a commitment. It shows a commitment. It's like, I care enough. I'm invested enough to tell the truth. And for you, my listeners, especially those of you who are still collecting data and trying to figure out what you're going to do, which I'm telling you, when this class comes out, this master class, you're going to want to go grab it like right away because it will help you so much with this. But your North Star is going to be like your way through is going to be tapping in, first of all, looking inward. What is real? What is true for me? What do I know? What do I not know? What do I know but pretend not to know? Where am I really actually clear but pretend not to be clear? And why? Why am I hiding what I know? It's often because we're so afraid of the fallout in sharing what we know, right? It's scary. And it is the way through. It is where you're going to learn to respect yourself again. It is where you are going to learn, get back to yourself, self-trust, who you are, what matters to you, what doesn't matter to you, what am I about? This is where this trust is rebuilt, okay? Now, often we hit a brick wall when we avoid truth. When we aren't fully honest, we shrink ourselves to fit into what feels safe. We avoid intimacy, we avoid growth, and we even limit our own healing potential. We are living out of alignment with our true needs, which can then lead to exhaustion and confusion and continuing to feel stuck. Okay? I'm going to drop a truth bomb here. Listen up. For those of you who feel stuck, what if you're not stuck at all? What if there's a truth that you're avoiding and your way to get out of being stuck is by facing that truth? What is it? What is it that you need to face? Okay? Now, honesty, the bummer here, the kicker, honesty doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't guarantee an outcome, okay, externally with other people, but it does guarantee clarity and it guarantees alignment. And I can't think of anything more satisfactory than living in clarity and alignment with ourselves, right? Truth allows growth. Truth allows growth. When I was doing some research and putting my notes together for this, a quote came up that I thought was a little cheesy, but I'm going to share it anyway, okay? It says, "Truth is like the sun. It might be blinding at first, but it allows everything to grow." Okay, a little cheesy. I don't know about you, but sometimes I think quotes can be a little cheesy, but I love me a good quote. This one, though, when you think about it, sometimes the truth burns. Ooh, like facing it within ourselves, seeing it, feeling it, knowing it, like really going, oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. That's the truth. But it allows everything to grow. Facing it, the pain of it, is what busts everything open. It's what allows us to get out of being stuck, of being stagnant. Turn to it, okay? All right, to wrap this up, truth is our true north. It's our anchor in chaos and our guide in uncertainty. Now, I want to talk really quickly about one little nuanced piece of this, all right? In my life, I'm turning 48 this year, and something that I have learned that's very interesting is that I used to think that there was like black and white, that there was like one thing that's true and one thing that's not. So help me, like that's the way it is. Like it's just black and white. And the more I learn that there's so much nuance, there's so much gray area, there's so much that there aren't easy solutions to, okay? So I'm just saying that when you recognize your truth, okay, it can be your truth for today. You do not have to hold yourself to that forever and ever till you die, okay? It can be true for you today, and it can be enough to get you moving. And as you get moving, what might happen is something that you really felt like you needed. For example, like for today, this is something I really, really, really need from my spouse. As you get moving and talking about that and growing and healing, that need actually might completely fall off as you heal. Isn't that interesting? You might not need it anymore. It may no longer even be true for you. Okay, so what is true for you as you're listening to this can be true for you today, and that is enough. That is enough. Okay, wisdom, being wise, is allowing yourself to evolve and grow and allowing truth to shift, allowing yourself to grow and morph and evolve. Okay? But facing what is true today. What do I know that I don't want to know? What do I know that is not working for me? And why do I keep tolerating it? What do I know that I'm not saying? What do I feel that I'm not sharing? Okay? That's your path. It's your path. I invite you, my dear listeners, to take one small step. Journal. Okay, journal. Share a truth with your partner. If you don't have a partner, share it with yourself. Share with a friend. And then I invite you. I want you to pretend, okay? I know many of you are my clients, but many of you, I've never met you. And I do need to say some of you have sent me beautiful emails saying thank you for this work and thank you so much. And if I have failed to respond, I'm very, very sorry. I get behind on my emails, but please know that I read everyone and they mean the world, okay? I want you to imagine me energetically sitting by you. Okay, I'm with you. I am with you. You're facing a truth. You're feeling all of the discomfort that comes with it. You're scared to see it. You're certainly scared to share it with anybody. And I want you to imagine that I'm there and that I'm witnessing you and that I'm sitting with you and holding you in it, allowing the space to be there. I'm like a container that's helping to contain this and help you hold it. And I'm with you. And to take it one step further, if you want to send me an email with the truth that you have faced by listening to this episode, send me an email. Okay, send me an email. I do read every single one. I read every one. I have great intentions always of responding back, and I'm not perfect at it, but I do read everyone, okay? So if you want to share, if you want somebody to share with, I'm happy to be that person, all right? All right, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Go lean into what's true for you, and I will be with you next week. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.